Hey everybody, and welcome back. It's Carside Chat time once again. I'm going to turn down my little background microphone here because I just realized it's going to echo at me if I don't. So there's that. I hope that volume is good enough for everybody. I new batteries, new mic, new everything. So we're golden here. This is actually kind of taking off. This thing with this chat thing that we've been doing has really been like the new big thing, and I think it's actually something that I'm going to pay attention to. Originally, the idea was to do some stuff that was associated with just doing car shows and things like that, and I just really want to take it. I think we can just take this to a new level, and unfortunately, due to, well, number one, the pandemic numbers going right back up again, and also the end of the season, so there's really not many car shows left. I tried to get in touch with somebody. I know Lars Anderson is going to have some in their area, so there's options there, but with the cold weather and everything, I really don't want to push it, and sometimes putting the equipment out there, you don't want to do anything in the rain. We're trying to put some more What It's Like to Drives by the end of this, so that's the plan. Get some What It's Like to Drives, get some other stuff down together for you guys so you'll have something to watch and make this a really good season. I think this is something that we can really go along with. I think it's going to be a great thing. So, and it really is. This is the future. So Carside Chat live stream, this is it. I don't even know if we're going to number this. Maybe we'll number one. Maybe we'll just keep with the number convention we have. I don't know how it is, but today I got a big announcement coming from Lamborghini, and then we're going to talk about the first rally ever. Stay close. 1, 2, 3, now. Okay, so the first thing on my agenda today is I have it on my trusty phone right here, and I literally just got this news probably about, I don't know, an hour ago. But let's see, Lamborghini's new V10 is about to be revealed. I don't even have a picture for the thing, but there it is. So you go to unveil.lamborghini. It's a HTTPS thing, and it's November 8th at 4 p.m. CET. So I don't know if that's Central Time. You guys put in some discussion or something there because it's CET, so I don't know what that is. But anyway, November 18th, 2020 at 4 p.m. I'll do some research later and figure out what it is. Maybe I'll put that in the comments. I don't know. But anyway, that is huge news. Obviously, the huge news is the live streams are here. They're here to stay. They are what they are, and I'm really excited about it. I hope you guys are excited about it as much as I am because these have been – it's kind of a big deal. We want to have some guests on here. I've installed Zoom so we can put the stuff on here that way. And I'm talking to some other people about doing some stuff in other places, looking at what my options are. You never know. We did the live stream. The first one was at 1170 on Sunday for their car show, Toys for Tots. Incredible event. Totally worth going to. I love that a lot. And that's the thing is I've gotten pretty much everything dialed in. I just got a little bit more healing to do from the procedure I had done, but other than that, he really hasn't affected me from doing anything or slowing me down. So that's the thing is we're just going to speed right up, get things going, and I'm excited to see what's going to turn out. So in the past, this is our big topic today, and I think I'm just going to roll with it here because it's a big deal for me. And that's the thing is I hear so many people that don't know what this is, or have never heard this story before, and I have to be honest, it breaks my heart to say that you don't know this story at all. And it's the story of the first ever, basically, road trip, if you will, a singular rally, if you will, the single person, pretty much everything that defines who we are as car guys today. Started with one little trip. It was August 1888, and this is when this trip happened. And there was a lot to this. So what we're going to do now is I want to go over the vehicle that started it, the person that did the drive, the things that were discovered on the drive, and give you kind of an idea of what everything about this drive was and what it really means to us today, and what it kind of can pull into us from the future about being cutting edge and everything like that. So this was the first one. It's actually called the Benz patent motor wagon, and it was created by Carl Benz. Now, if you guys know Mercedes-Benz at all, then you'll know Carl Benz. He's the one that kind of started this whole thing off. A lot of people think of the patent motor wagon as kind of the first vehicle. There was only 25 of these produced. They were produced between 1886 and 1893. It's a three-wheeled, and I'm reading some of this stuff here so I can remember, because a lot of stuff here I cannot remember because it's not common all the time. But a three-wheeled rear engine, 954 cubic centimeters, so 58.2 cubic inches for you domestic guys out there. And it's a two-stroke piston, a single piston engine. It was rated at 0.9 horsepower at 400 RPMs. I've heard people say 2.5, but the Mannheim guys did a dyno test on one, and the best they could get out was 0.9. But the engine itself only weighed 220 pounds. So it's a steel tubing. It had woodworking panels and steel spoke wheels with a solid rubber tire. And instead of a carburetor, it had a fuel-soaked fiber that it evaporated into the cylinder. So this was the first kind of car that was ever made. Obviously open top, so basically it's a convertible. But that was the thing is this was something that these guys put together. I don't think it was basically the only vehicle out there. It was the first pretty much of its kind, if you will, but I mean, obviously other people were soon to follow. But this was the one that really just started the whole idea of being able to say, this is it. This is the future. This is cars. But like anything of the time, cars were not really a thing. You know what I mean? Like everybody had their horses. Everybody had, trains, whatever. They had different kinds of processes by which that people drove or took trips, but it definitely was not the process of a car. There wasn't even the idea of roads so much. If there were roads, it was basically horse-trodden paths and things of that nature that were, this was the regular mode of transportation. The concept of a car was really foreign to these guys. So what they did was when Carl kind of put his first vehicle out, there was actually a lot of kind of regulations that were put on it. And it was very minimalistic and limited to its ability to basically around town. But even around town was very, very short distances. And the car was not made, I guess I want to say wear and tear, which we're going to get into that as we go into this, you'll kind of get an idea of it. But so what the idea was is that because of the limitations that it had, like I could buy a horse, the horse could ride around town. Obviously, it was upkeep with the horse, but if it was either around town or driving everywhere, I didn't have to fuel up. I didn't have to do all this other stuff. I could go anywhere I want to. Horses had a certain minimum distance that they could travel, or maximum distance they could travel. But the idea was that there were options available, horse-drawn carriages, that kind of thing, that were effectively more, I guess the way is more available to people. So that was their kind of public transportation at the time. So there was a lot of other things going on. So when this car first came out, that people didn't really attach to it. I know it sounds crazy, but nobody really jumped on this thing and said, okay, this is a great idea. Let's have at it and do whatever. So Carl was really thinking about this idea of how to really kind of push the vehicle or get it to really attach to people. And there really wasn't anything that he could do other than outside of the limitations of the vehicle itself. So the idea was Bertha Benz, and Bertha Benz was his wife. Carl had used their dowry to actually pay for the building of this vehicle. And Bertha secretly decided that she was going to design a trip to take this vehicle on this trip. And she was not going to tell anybody about it. She was just going to do it. In effect, stealing the vehicle. So what she did was she snuck out early in the day. And she took their two sons, it was Eugene and Richard, and 15 years old and 14-year-olds respectively, and they were going to basically go to their grandmother's house. So this is going to be considered the first ever long-distance drive in an automobile. And I'm going to look at my notes here because this is the one that I want to remember all the stuff to it. But the trip was from Mannheim through Heidelberg to Weißloch and to her hometown of Pforzheim. Please tell me I pronounced all that right, because I did some training in German, and I should be able to get most of this right. So, and that's where she's going to visit her mother. So Eugene Richards' grandmother. So basically what she did is she stole the vehicle. She didn't tell anybody what she was doing. And the plan was this was going to be done for publicity. Now, the thing that we need to point out here, which I have this in my notes here, this vehicle was not designed for long road trips. It had 2 gears. It had wooden brakes. It had an evaporative cooling system, meaning that water had to, yes, you get the idea, evaporate into the system, which means it needed a lot of water. So this trip they were going to take, they were going to have to stop a lot and fill up a lot. And on the trip, they were going to stop at any kind of waterway, all the way down to even puddles to fill up the water system in this. And the other big problem that they had, which wasn't as bad as the water, funny enough, was actually the fuel tank. So the car did not have a fuel tank. All it had was a carb that stored 4.5 liters. That was it. And the worst part about it was when she took off on her drive, the vehicle didn't have a lot of fuel in it. So she was going to run out pretty quick. And it ran on a petroleum solvent called, I'm going to say Ligroin. I'm hoping I pronounce some of this stuff right. So if I don't, bear with me. But at the time, the only place you could pick this up was at an apothecary store. Now, so basically she had to go to a pharmacist to get this stuff. And her first stop was in Weisslosh. So effectively, Weisslosh became the first gas station. And if I remember correctly, Weisslosh is the basic pharmacy that's there now. Still has the sign that says they're the first ever gas station. So imagine I'm going to the pharmacy to get gas. Man, how times have changed. So, so that's the thing is that's how they got the fuel for it. I think she made 3 total fuel stops on the entire trip. She constantly made fuel stops for water, though. So basically, and this is the other thing that was great about it. So the car did not run perfect. It was not up to speed with doing a lot of stuff. Again, because it was not made to do what it was doing, it needed repairs constantly. So effectively, Bertha was the first mechanic ever, as well as an engineer, because she fixed a clogged fuel line with a hat pin. She insulated the wires that broke with her garter. And then she got a blacksmith to fix the chain drive. And then she created the first brake pads, because the wood pads going up and down these hills really pushed everything out. But she had a leather cobbler make let's see, what is this? Leather from a cobbler when the wooden brakes fell. So she took this cobbler leather and put that in it. So she created the first ever brake pad or brake. Some people say brake line. I call it brake pad. Here nor there, but that's the thing is now they had a leather surface that was obviously more grippy, was better, and it also lasted longer. I believe she actually did that on the return leg. So, and the boys that she had helped her too, because the biggest thing is because this thing is so underpowered that the 2 boys would be able to push her up the hill to get over any hilly surfaces. And then what would happen is she came down the other side, and now she's burning the brakes out. So but that was the thing so that was her thing is she had to have something to do with the brakes. So she did all these fixes. Now, total, what was the trip? And this is going to frighten you, but it was one way was 66 miles. So total, total, I think it ended up being up like 194 kilometers is how they explain it. This trip there was, and that's the reason I don't have an exact number, but it was because it's 66 miles down. But she figured out, basically she became a master of the road trip right out of the gate. So her trip back was actually really quick. And that was the thing is she was able to get telegraphs. So she basically tricked her husband in saying that she was going. Now he's up and worried, obviously. So she starts sending telegrams back to him to say, hey, look, we did this. Forgive me for this. We did this road trip and it is what it is. Deal with it. But this is where we are and this is how we're going. So she ended up being able to take telegrams back to him, and the travelers that were on the road, that were the long way travelers, had gotten spot of this thing and knew they were actually giving telegram or messages back to him. And that was the thing that really gets me. I mean, just imagine going down the road, being horse-drawn carriages, doing all the other stuff, and just seeing this thing go down the road. It must have been absolutely spectacular. I'm sure it had that little clump, clump, clump noise. So basically it would look something like this right here. So this was exactly how you'd kind of see her going down the road here. And that would be them pushing it. But that is the MotorWagon right there. I mean, that thing is crazy looking, ain't it? But yeah, so that was how it would look rolling down the road. And it would have been, I'm hearing something like like this old two-stroke noise. And if you've ever heard these two-stroke motors, like most motors today are four-stroke, and they have a lot more of a linear sound to them, and the sound kind of comes together. But back then with the two-stroke, it kind of like, I almost want to say it gurgles. And I'm sure these motors definitely had a kind of gurgle to them. So, but yeah, that was Bertha, and she rated that was the first long-distance trip ever. And this is really what jump-started the car world, and it proved the car was a viable mode of transportation. Again, she sent telegrams back to Carl to let them know that everything was okay. And today, obviously, this impact is evident, from simply driving a car to roads to highways to even long-distance trips. And the vehicle that she took was actually the number 3 vehicle. It was graded on August, and this was on August 1888. And that's the thing is it was this, yeah. So, and, yeah, so today it's celebrated as the Bertha Benz Memorial Cruise, and people still do it. I want to say they do it every 2 years. And they still do it today. There's still, you can look it up, Bertha Benz Memorial Drive. There's a sign on it that shows where to go and stuff like that. And I also believe that Mercedes-Benz Classics Center, a lot of words today, actually still has car number 3. And if not, they have a perfect replica of it. So that's a big deal. You know what I mean? Like, there's the car. There it is. Yeah, I'm just amazed at how cool that is to be able to say there's so much stuff. The only thing I don't think that they have is the telegraph. The telegraphs that she sent back to her husband. So I just wanted to show you. Here's Bertha. And I think personally she's a really, really attractive woman. And I don't know about you, but any kind of guys out there, this lady is a hero. She's the first one to actually steal a car, engineer a car, build stuff for her car, repair her car, and really just let it all hang out and just drive and let the wind flow through her hair. And then that's the thing is with any of these drives out there, their accomplishments, like it to this day, she's a pioneer. That just pure and simple. And I think that she represents everything that we as car guys today really represent when it comes to, I don't want to say like, just car guys in general, man. She represents this huge area for us. And, that's the thing is even today, like thanks to that ride, obviously cars really picked up. People got interested in it. 25 total cars for patent number 3, but it really did empower Carl to do a lot more stuff in the car world. And obviously today we have Mercedes-Benz, which is, I don't know if they're always, but a lot of times they're the number 1 seller of luxury vehicles in the world, I think. I've owned I think I've owned 1 or 2, but yeah, definitely 1. I had an 01 S600, which was easily to this day my favorite car. I still run into stuff where I want to get another one. I'm a huge fan of the Maybachs, which they obviously purchased the brand and had it, but a lot of that Mercedes is still in that. I mean, it basically is an S600 with a lot of stuff in it. But that's the thing is those cars that really empowered Mercedes to go down the road. And if I'm correct, he actually did become the biggest automotive dealer at the time, selling vehicles and basically bringing transportation to us. And it really all started from a road trip. So, like I said, this is one of those things that just really, not many people know about this trip. Not many people know about the story of Bertha Benz, the history to it, the idea that, here's a family that drove together, obviously enjoyed building cars, and then having somebody do basically a publicity stunt to make the first cars out there. And today, 120 miles to us is nothing. I've done 600 miles in a day. We do road trips, we do rallies, we do car drives, we do cruises, we do all this stuff. And that's the thing is I don't know how much of it we can really credit to Bertha. Obviously, the car itself I'm sure sooner or later it would have caught on. But that's the thing is we can't look at the stuff that Bertha did and not really appreciate it and say, you know what, that motivated people to really catch on. And obviously the cars today is just, it's a part of life and it's a part of the way we do things. And obviously cruises and rallies and drives and stuff like that are, you know, part of our life too. So that's the thing is I just wanted to tell you guys that story. I wanted to see what you guys had for input on it. See what you think about it. That's the thing. I don't want you to just listen to the story and hear it and then kind of dissuade it, because I do want you to put it out there and kind of do some research on it and see it and really appreciate what it's come from. The idea that, you know, a lot of people, and the thing is, I don't want to turn it into some sort of like, you know, woke agenda thing, but the idea that when it comes to cars are not a respecter of person. If you want to be a woman driver, a guy driver, wherever you want to come from, whatever lineage you have, we all have this shared history that is cars. And that's the thing is I think that's really where it started off. It started off as a shared history. It started off as a family. And today a lot of people can still say that it's family. And I think that's a big deal, and I hope you get something out of that. And if the story made you good, then, you know, basically you hit that subscribe button, do some likes and stuff like that. Leave me a comment in there, and don't forget to come back for the next live stream that we're going to be doing. So I'm going to end it today. I didn't want to do the commercial for Car Grumps. I know you guys want to see. You've already seen it before. You've been on the stream before. You've seen it. But that's the thing is I do want to end with the Car Grumps commercial, and then basically go right into the end here, because this is what we do. This is we're going to keep coming. We're going to bring you some more cool stories like this, and bring you some content that I think you guys are really going to like. So thank you guys for tuning in today, and I am out of here. And as always, guys, and especially with this show, don't forget to drive.
1, 2, 3.